I'm one of 10 children. Okay, so let's say I've been making a lot of decisions for a long time, and I've been part of a lot of decisions. But I'm the third of 10, and I have 20 plus nieces and nephews at this point. And I remember a few of them saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be able to decide X, Y, and Z for myself. And I thought, boy, if you knew what adulting meant, it's just more and more decisions. And decision making is essentially trying to put different pieces of a puzzle together to make it work at different seasons, at different stages, for different reasons, and for different groups. And government leaders have complex decisions that they have to make because they have to be mindful of various stakeholders. And so it is important for leaders to develop emotional intelligence around why they make certain decisions, how they feel about certain groups, what happens when they make certain decisions, in order to manage those emotions, where they need to address them to do so, if there's a bias that needs to be addressed so that they can include it and not exclude different groups. That is really, really important. And so leaders have to be sensitive to the needs and motivations of others. But the first thing that they have to do is also be sensitive to their own needs and their own motivations and how it might affect their decision making in order for them to make better decisions. And so emotional intelligence also helps in terms of decision making. As you develop in self-awareness, understanding your motives, understanding your biases, understanding maybe some of your triggers as it pertains to different groups and different individuals, you're better able then to address that, get feedback, understand your blind spots around different groups and stakeholders, and then be able to gain vital information around those different groups and individuals, so you can not only make better decisions, but you can engage them differently, more productively, right? And so in addition to how we decide who to engage, deciding what not to focus on in terms of our work is equally important. And I'm reminded of General Chris McChrystal in his book, Team of Teams. He talks about the need to let go of certain decisions. And he was very comfortable in making certain decisions because of his expertise. Right, as leaders, we have education experience, expertise in a particular area. That's probably the basis for our promotions into leadership roles. But leadership is not necessarily about that technical expertise, although in the research, it indicates that having technical intelligence or competence and expertise does help in decision making, but the ability to manage ourselves and our emotions and to engage people and empower them and support them will help us to be better leaders. And so going back to General McChrystal, he talks about the need to let go of certain decisions as he was leading the military at the time to fight Al Qaeda in the Middle East, and learning how to respond to their unique way of warfare, right? And so he talks about the need to let go of certain decisions so that he could shift focus, right? To become what he called the gardener, right? He uses this example of a gardener, and the gardener is responsible, well, for the garden, but also to understand what conditions the garden is in and what the weather conditions are in order to be able to care for the garden so that the garden and the fruits and vegetables can grow, so that the soil is rich and has the nutrients for the food to grow. And so he talks about that garden in terms of his leadership role, because as leaders, if we free up our times and free up our resources uh, as we share decision making across our teams and organizations, we're able to really look up and see what is happening around us and be able to see what is coming, whether they be challenges, crises, or opportunities. We're able to see them, and we're better able to make decisions around them, manage and marshal resources for ourselves and our teams, our organizations, our communities, and we'll be better equipped than to lead through all of that, because we don't have our heads down making decisions that frankly we can delegate to others. And one point about delegation is that delegation is an opportunity to empower others to grow in their careers, to grow in their roles, to take on more responsibility. So it's not passing on menial tasks and inconsequential projects, but it's giving to others responsibilities that will enhance their ability to lead as well. And so to be emotionally intelligent in our decision making is a balance of knowing what to focus on and knowing what not to focus on, and who we're bringing in and who we're deciding to hand off some of these responsibilities, and recognizing that not everybody's always ready to take on responsibility and to make decisions, but while we recognizing that, taking the time to support them and giving them the training and resources and partnerships and mentorship and coaching, whatever they need, if they are engaged and want to succeed and want to take on more, that they are prepared to do so. And that is really, really critical for leaders, to delegate responsibility, but also to recognize that everyone may not be ready to take on responsibility, but to develop them so that when they are, they can do so responsibly. And so while we're focusing as leaders on decisions that are of the highest values for our roles, but is also better for the organizations and agencies and communities that we serve, we're better able to develop the right strategies with the right stakeholders, right, with the right people around the table, asking those important questions, so that we can get, again, information, resources to people, and services to people and communities who need them in the way that they need them. So some tips and tools. First, ask the questions. Those 5 important questions I asked around communication are important questions that we can ask here. And I do the why, what, who, and when. But ask why decisions are made and why they're not made. Ask what they're made about, who's making the decisions, and when they're making the decisions. Ask yourself those questions as well. But you can also ask those questions in terms of your strengths and weaknesses. Are you focusing on the right things? Are there areas where you really can hand off a task or a project to someone else who is more capable, right? Taking the time to ask questions around your motives and bias around those decisions and the people that you're engaging is really, really important. Determining who to pass on this responsibility to, this decision to, is always also as important. And taking the time to prepare and support team members through the process is also as important. So ask these questions: the why, the what, the who, and when of decision making will help you determine why you're making certain decisions, why you want to continue, or what you need to let go of so that others can take care of those decisions for you. Who is you're going to tag for that decision, when are they capable for making those decisions, and what you need to get to them so that they can take on those responsibilities as well. Some books that I've read that will certainly help, not just in decision making, but to develop your emotional intelligence, are available here. I highly recommend, highly recommend Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it's a bestseller for a reason. They've Stephen Covey, who's since passed, has sold over 25 million books. This has been in repeat, has been published over and over and over again. And I believe there is Eighth Habit, which focuses on emotional intelligence, but I haven't read it yet, so I can't recommend it. But Seven Habits of Highly Effective People is a great book to help you be the type of leader you want to be privately, so that publicly, when you're showing up as a leader, especially as a government leader, managing all the responsibilities, engaging different stakeholders from different communities, supporting your team, partnering with colleagues in your agency and other government entities, working with grassroots organizations or union leaders, or speaking to the media. Whatever your role encompasses, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People is definitely a must. Balance is, I think, is when you read Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, balance is another book that I think you can pair well with Seven Habits. And remember, I talked about decision making is as much of saying no as it is of saying yes, right? I think we all need to say no more often. And so balance helps us to understand how to say no, why we need to say no, how to really think through the decisions that we're making, and how to position ourselves for success, right? By doing less well and doing the right thing in the right season. So identity, leadership, and leading from the inside out, those I think go well together as well. But the unique thing about all these books is that there are different questions, tips, practices, and work sheets and tools within them that you can leverage and go through, that will help you throughout your leadership journey. Every single one of these books are completely marked up because I think they're just so helpful. So these are some books, again, that I recommend to help you develop emotional intelligence. And while the term emotional intelligence may not show up in every single one of the books, the concepts, the ideas, the practices, the self-awareness and self-management piece is definitely prominent in all of these books. And that's the reason why I've recommended them. There are other books that I have not yet read, but I plan to, that will be helpful. And for now, we're going to start with these four. So emotional intelligence helps us to see ourselves, helps us also to appreciate how others see and experience us, and help us to manage our emotions, our thoughts, our motives, so that we can be more constructive, be more effective, be more successful in our private lives first, then in our public and professional lives, and certainly as our roles require for us to lead effectively and responsibly as government leaders. And crisis communication, inclusion, decision making are critical skills for government leaders, as I've discussed throughout this video. And when coupled with emotional intelligence, we are able to make to communicate more effectively, include people from different backgrounds and perspectives, and make better informed decisions, as well as making the decision not to focus on things so that we can see what's coming ahead. So with that, my name is Jessie Saintcyr, and I hope and I believe that this video will be a tool in your toolbox on your leadership journey. Don't forget all of the references and the additional resources in the appendix that will support and equip you on the journey ahead. Thank you.